But, we wanted to take a quick look back this week because we've been talking the last several weeks about the whole China trade war thing and some of the outcomes that you might be able to expect to see from that kind of behavior. And lo and behold, out comes a story, and it says, you know what? Look at Vietnamese trade. Because just this year, first three months of this year through the end of March, it's up 40% Vietnamese exports to the U.S. So that's exactly the type of thing that we would expect to see when you make it more expensive to produce and import something in China. And, of course, everybody here at home says, oh, my God, that's the only place that we can possibly get anything is from China. So, therefore, you're going to cost the American consumers more money for their goods. And lo and behold, what happens? Another producer steps up that doesn't have the tariffs, like Vietnam. And they say, everybody, turn the factories on. Let's get going. Let's get producing because now we have a competitive advantage to China for the American market. Our advantage is we don't have a 25% tariff on all these goods.
Have to give you some credit, Morgan, because not only did you predict that, but just your general consensus about how the trade war would move forward with China is somewhat taking shape the way that you imagined.
Well, let's hope it keeps going. And, we didn't even get to talk about it last week, but these Mexican tariffs, which turned out to be a bit of a scare, because off the air we're kind of talking about it and saying, are we going overboard? We're getting a lot of tariffs. And there were a lot of ideas about why is he putting these tariffs on? Well, guess what? He wasn't putting the tariffs on, as we now see. I mean, President Trump is just a master negotiator.
Is this country being run like a business?
It kind of is, and nobody ever knows where he's coming from. I mean, he's applying Sun Tzu's Art of War perfectly. You don't know what to expect of this guy. One day he's putting tariffs on you. The next day he's taking them off and saying we're best friends. And I mean, it's just – and what I think he's actually doing is he's setting this up so he's putting all the responsibility for the situation onto the Mexicans. Because now they've said, okay, we will do the following if you'll take the tariffs off. He took the tariffs off. Now we get to wait and see, are they going to do what they said they were going to do? And if they don't, he'll slap the tariffs back on.
It's interesting, too, because even though we are a capitalist society, it's the other countries are probably saying to themselves, wait, we're expecting him to deal with us as politicians have always dealt with us. And he doesn't handle himself like a politician. He handles himself like a heavy-duty businessman negotiator.
And China and Russia now are best friends.
Well, they'll never be best friends. But yes, I mean, they have a somewhat of an alliance, but that's a long-time alliance. But it's seen a lot of rockiness, too. I mean, they're essentially rivals in one way. But, we're going to continue to see production shift to other countries. Now, yes, you have to be a little bit considerate of the idea of transshipment, which is definitely going on. In other words, some of that 40% out of Vietnam are Chinese goods that they're shipping to Vietnam, and they're getting relabeled as made in Vietnam and then shipped on. But it's my understanding, and I'm not there to check, but it's my understanding that overall that's a relatively smaller part of the uptick in production, and that, yes, in fact, most of that 40% is the Vietnamese are just now directly competing with the Chinese who are at a disadvantage, and they're turning all their factories on, and they're pumping out the goods to come to America. And I got to say, if you've ever bought anything made in Vietnam, I mean, the quality is stunning. It's high-quality stuff. In particular, they make a number of tactical products for, military folks, and it's very high-quality stuff. The webbing and the sewing and everything else is excellent. I'm very impressed with things made in Vietnam. And the Vietnamese people, by and large, are extremely industrious people. I have a very good friend who's Vietnamese, and I mean, they so impress me with their industriousness and their attitude. They're amazing people, and I'm glad to support them, and I'm glad that some more of our American dollars are going there to their factories. And bringing over some of their products as opposed to just the Chinese products that we've been importing for so many years.
Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.